If there is a message for us today, I believe it is to learn to live from our heart in love. These short lessons, hopefully, will help to inspire you to live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. We are the change agent our world needs. I'm Helen Taves. Step into the river today with me to explore the mysteries of God. They are not hidden from us, but for us to discover. Okay. All right. I don't like to start with an apology, but I am going to, because the lighting in here I'm going to figure this out. I'd forgotten that we have upper windows, the sun sets in, and so there's a lot of light and that behind me. But anyway, here we are, we're all together, and it's really, really amazing, really totally amazing. Tonight, I'm really hoping that we again can come together, because I really want to hear from you. Really, truly do want to hear from you. I loved last week and the week before, where most of our meeting really was together, and I realized what a blessing that it is to be able to have that sense of family, of community, all those things that happen. But so glad that you shared, and I was so glad that everybody's that had different opinions shared them. And I don't that's what's going to make us grow, guys, because nobody's got the whole meal deal here, and I really appreciate that. Also, I want to open it up to you guys. If you feel that you have a message, a sharing, I'm really open to that. And so I wanted to put that on as we're recording as well, because really and truly our frequencies, as they come together, are beautiful. But if you have something just, that you want to share, please, please, please let me know. All right, so tonight, I'm actually shocked that it's the end of May. That's how crazy life has been, and really quite happy about the sunshine, because we've been going through all this rain as well. So here's the book of the week. I really want to share this one with you. This is one I have that it's called Infinite Mind, and it's the science of human vibrations of consciousness, and it's by a person, she's actually a doctor, Dr. Valerie V. Hunt. And does that show up on your screen okay? All right, I might have lost you guys. No? Okay, did that show up okay? Okay, thanks. Thank you. All right, I'm going to read this just to let you know. She was born in 1917, and reading this book, I always think the things that we're into, dealing with studies in consciousness and human energy, systems and things like that this is sort of new. Well, that's 107 years ago that she was born. She was a professor at UCLA. She's a scientist, and I'm just going to read here. It says, the reader is taken on a journey of discovery into the vibrant electromagnetic radiation field as it changes during human interaction and with environmental conditions. Simple research graphics show the correlations of field waves and auric colors and the field of coherency and anti-coherency in health and illness. The author's major discovery of the human field of chaos pattern, the first ever demonstrated in biological systems, has profound implications for healing. These energy field findings, combined with human interest stories, lead to stunning new information about the mind and body, the emotions, the creativity, extrasensory human capacities in higher consciousness and the mystical connections of spirit. Doesn't that sound fun? Anyway, I just came across her, and as you can see, I have the hard copy. The hard copy was cheaper than the other. So that's when I got that. So I want to just continue talking about consciousness for this week, and I hope I'm not repeating myself and you zone out, but I think we are all agreeing that consciousness is key to operating in life, right? That's like actually why I was so inspired by this book. Okay, Maggie, come up, come on. Sorry. She's looking for Bob. I really, because here she's putting the science and spirituality together as well. In her subtitle is called "The Science of Human Vibrations of Consciousness," and it's just where we're at. It's just such a where we're at place. And she says that there are things happening around us, even weather is an imbalance in consciousness. We just had this huge conversation on weather. She said, when we're out of balance, we spread it into the universe, and the universe is impacted by us. But if we live in harmony, we can alter things around us. So to me, that is really encouraging. And we know, right, that science is proving that space is not empty, but it's actually a compassionate source field of information that comes from a divine creator. I'm going to say it doesn't just come from a divine creator. It is this divine, this compassionate source field that we are in, because that field is in us and we're in it. And we know the creator, we know it's God. And God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, right? So the area called space is called by different names. We've done this. We've gone through this before, but it's worth bringing into our consciousness. That the quantum hologram is called by some. It's called nature's mind. It's called the field. If you haven't read or listened to who that does the book The Field. Oh, Lynn McTaggart. That's worth reading as well. Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, calls it the divine matrix. And various indigenous people in their customs and traditions have called it the net or the web. And that's really, I don't have my little ball with the net over it, but I love it that indigenous people knew a long time ago that we're all connected. And even having that terminology, the net and web. But Stephen Hawking's called it the mind of God. And that's really where I personally like to land. But let's expand our thinking here, because this space is not random, is it? Jesus said that the kingdom of God is within us, and it does not come with observation. So to me, that means that observation, as we understand it in our visual field of consciousness, the things that we can see and touch, is not the definition of the kingdom of God. Jesus's words were also that to see it, we need to come as a child. Not be childish, but childlike. And we've talked about that. And we need to be born from above. And that isn't that it's been rejigged to say we have to be born again. And then it puts a whole other spin on it. But actually being born from above is setting our minds on things above, not on the earth. Like, remember when we did that lesson on what is ascension? And because ascension is a conscious state that people often refer to as going into heaven, right? We need to ascertain what heaven is being referred to. So when we set our minds on things above, it's analogous to positioning, not geography or a place. When the new king of England ascended, right? That's they call it ascending to the throne. It was not a high physical place, although it's pictured as a throne and seated high. It's above other things, other people. And the ascending to the throne is a positioning. Jesus ascended to the throne or authority of his Father. We have ascended to the same place, and it's a conscious position. And it's a conscious positioning. It's a continual placing ourselves there because that is our truth and understanding. So it's not something we go in and out of either because of God's favor. And I was listening to somebody saying we have to go in and out of this place to keep clean. So every time we're there, that God cleans us up. And I think, well, that's cool. But how about going in and staying there? How about staying in him as he's in us? And this is where we're sons and daughters of God, that we are one with the one. So science is saying the space around us actually has consciousness. So maybe we need to deconstruct some thought patterns to allow the reality, both spiritual and scientifically, to become more real. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Albert Einstein, I love it. He just says, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want. This is a scientist. I love this. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. There can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. God bless you, Albert Einstein. And when I personally have been doing some real sila, pausing on that and thinking about that, so that because the more you focus on something, it expands in you, you know that, and it becomes more and more real. Dr. Valerie Hunt in her book says all great thought and wisdom from the masters of the past is available to us today in its original vibe if we can come into harmony with the same energy and frequency. Think about that. This field, right? This mind of God, this field, this matrix that we call the universe, call the kingdom around us and in us, has a frequency and has energy. And in that place, all of the great thought and wisdom from all the masters of the past, actually from everything in the past, is all available to us. And when I think of it in its simplest form, we're energy beings living within energy, and everything has a frequency that determines its level of effectiveness. If we don't have a clue what it means to have the same vibration as that energy field, as that divine consciousness, then we won't attach to it. That's why the Mirror Bible is so much fun to read, because it continues to use the fact that we need to mirror God. So not only do we see ourselves as God, but we connect, right? And we know the lower frequencies are that we can engage in, can be involved in, like shame, guilt, desires, grief, apathy, anger, pride, all of those are all very negative. And when we're in those frequencies, we will not be in the original vibration that we can come into harmony with the energy of the wisdom of the ages. And that's a tough statement to say, but if we're in that, we need to leave it. We need to change and go into the higher frequencies where we have courage and willingness, and we reason, we have acceptance, we love passionately, we have peace and joy, and we understand we can go to that place of enlightenment. Where do you want to put your thinking, your processing of things, your energy? High or low? Let's choose high. Let's choose high. And the reason we are now in a consciousness shift is that we have to learn new patterns to live in this energy. The things that worked before aren't working anymore. We used to deal with our lower frequencies by asking God to take them away, by prayer groups, by counseling, by therapies, drugs, alcohol, different things. And that's how we dealt with things. A prayer meetings consisted of us asking God to do something for us. And we knew the higher frequencies were the best, like love and joy and peace. But sometimes we put them as a byproduct of a situation. Like if we got healed, if our prayers got answered, we seem to easily go into love and joy and peace. But we never understood that we can be love, joy, peace in our I amness, in our oneness with God. So we're in this conscious shift because we're learning that if we're one with God, if our reality is to be able to be in that oneness, then we're able to say, as God, I am. The problem remains that we're still dancing between two worlds, right? The world of Christ consciousness and the realm that we live from the church life, where we follow doctrines of man. And if you weren't in church life, you either had no concept of God, but you had a positioning in some ways. So I don't want to put anything down, because all of the paths were there for a reason. And all of who we are today is because of the positioning in our past. And it's a beautiful thing to have those teachers. So remember when we did Heart Brain Coherence now, and it's on the river if you haven't seen it. I shared some statistics on how global or group consciousness actually can be measured. And in one of the pictures that I show was actually a measurement of what happened, a graph, that's it, that measured the consciousness of the globe on September 11th, 2001. And it was right at the time that at like 8:14 of the World Trade Centers, that event was measured by it's called the GOES, the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And there's many of them actually that right this minute are recording the consciousness of our Earth. And actually what it's recording is the consciousness that we bring to it. And at that time, the satellite showed the shift in the atmosphere as people reacted to this horrible event, because we watched it on the internet and television all at the same time. And that fear was measured. I'm getting a little feedback here.
Yes, some people aren't muted, Helen.
Okay. Could you check your mute buttons, please? I don't. That would be really helpful. Thank you. All right, we'll unmute in a few minutes. Anyway, that emotion of fear could be charted on a graph at the time of the event. So let's think about that. That satellite is able to put us on a graph what global conditioning, conscious conditioning is doing. But let's put it up, like up close and personal. If global fear can be measured and it has effect on the world, then what if we chart our own lives? Like, what if is it possible that fear from one member of the family can actually affect others? And the reality is we are all connected, no matter how far away. So to me, that this makes my choice to consciousness even more important, because I know you've probably heard of the 100th monkey effect, but if you haven't, what it is between that primologists, they were people who were studying monkeys in Japan. And these researchers found that if they gave this certain group of monkeys sweet potatoes, and they were often on beaches, that this set of monkeys figured out a way to get the sand and everything off their off the sweet potatoes, and they washed them in a certain way, and they discovered that the sand grit can be removed by washing them in a stream or in the ocean. And gradually this potato washing habit spread throughout the whole troop. Now, it traveled through their troop in the usual fashion, right? Through observation and repetition. But this behavior spread up, and this was in 1958 that this was done by a guy by the name of Watson. I don't know him completely, but I have his name. And they noticed that a group, that when a certain sort of group consciousness comes together, it actually transfers, not just by the group that can watch and that, but they found that once a critical number of monkeys were reached, they call it the 100th monkey, this previously learned behavior instantly spread across the water to other lands, to nearby islands. And those monkeys did the same thing. So I love the thought of the 100th monkey, because it shows that global consciousness is something that really happens, or something that we really connect with. And it's not just the monkeys, it's us. The International Peace Project showed that as well, and that's on that message, the heart-brain coherence. So I won't go through that, but there's lots of studies. Well, when Valerie Hunt says we are out of balance, we create imbalance in the world. So that's our challenge. So I'm saying that every human being is the power to create, heal yourself, love, and bring about peace. Okay, hang on just a sec here, because I'm getting a feedback.
I'm getting a feedback from Rennie's phone.
Okay, thank you. We're good. All right, we're back. So when we connect to the field, the source, the mind of God, once our attention and then our energy activates in our heart acts as an amplifier. We know that. That's what is called coherence. And if the electromagnetic field is measurable, then we can actually participate to control, or can we, is the question. Can we participate to control or direct the power? And the answer is yes, it can. You know why? Because whatever problem that we have, whatever problem you need solving, it already has been solved. You just haven't got to that point in time yet. That's how incredible this network that we live in is, and how encouraging actually that it is. And there's also scientific research that's now being done on the effectiveness of meditation and how far reaching. For instance, Deepak Chopra in a book called Creating Your World, they did an experiment. They took a room full of people who meditate, and they measured the response of consciousness. And those who were meditating all had a rise in serotonin. Serotonin is the peace enzyme, right? It's the one that puts you to sleep and you're at rest. It's beautiful. But this study showed that when a group was divided and only half of the room meditated, it showed an increase of serotonin. Again, that lovely peace enzyme was activated. But the other half who didn't meditate was affected, and the serotonin went up as well. So think about that. When you come into a room and you walk in peace, your peace, your vibration, your vibes, and we've all used that term. It feels like crazy vibes in here, but we actually change. We actually change that atmosphere. And I think we need to practice it. I think that that's why this whole shift in consciousness is important. It's not about going to the party where the action is, etc., although that's a fun thing to do. But how about be the party? How about be the person that brings this in? The subconscious effect, when we have a desire for something in our lives and we gather like-minded people, we can create the very opposite of what we desire if we aren't all in agreement for the same purpose. So it comes to us. It comes to us. And I was thinking about it this afternoon. I thought, you know what, if you're on fire, you say stop, drop, roll. That's what you do to put the fire out. But if you have a desire, how about this? If we stop, if we come to a place of rest and let our mind get a clear picture of what we're desiring, not the situation, not looking at the situation, it's looking at rest, and it's knowing that in that place of rest, make a let your consciousness understand, come into the place of your consciousness so you understand that you are rest. And when you meditate, allow your emotions to come in line with that desired effect. And when you come into that desired effect, just release it. And don't make your peace dependent on your outer circumstances. Don't allow people in your life that will bring any opposition to your desire. You know, I think I'm learning within myself. There are conversations you just don't want to be a part of. I don't mind if people are sharing a problem or a situation that's just between the two of us. But when those problems and situations come in over and over and over again, what's happening when we allow that, it actually allows that person to establish that in their life rather than taking them into the place that we know that we can be in. I am health, I am wealth, I am freedom, love, joy, compassion, all of that. Dr. Han said, when she was talking about the thought and wisdom of the masters of the past, that it's available. When I looked at that, I go, wow, we have a lot of incredible things that are continually happening around us. And if we start becoming more aware, even just little, talks like this tonight, become aware that it's even available, it'll take us into another level of it. Because there's nothing created by God, nothing in the universe that wasn't created by him, and it's good. So imagine, nothing's too lofty, too difficult, too ordinary, too complicated. Can you quiet yourself enough to realize whatever it is you're in need or a desire for, whether it's health, a job, mate, it could be new clothes, a vacation. That original vibe, when we come into harmony with that energy, is already there. What about wisdom, understanding, joy, knowledge, whatever it is, whatever it is. So if you have to realign your intention, it's simply dealing with something you've separated. It's not the reality. If you have been intending for something and you find yourself going into other thought processes, then just deal with it. Just realign your consciousness to your intention, and that key will start unlocking. In reality, you're already connected to all of God inside of you and out. There is nowhere where God doesn't exist. So if you think you're separated, you separated yourself. Because you know what he said to us? I will never leave you or forsake you. There's a lot riding on our understanding of that, isn't there? And the basis of manifestation is to see that there's no duality. It already exists. And Wayne Dyer talks about the ancient names of God that all have a sound, that awe sound. And I've shared that with, on other evenings. But that, when we do simple things like that, when we just breathe and we go, oh, and recognize that is a sound of God coming out of us, and we breathe in who he is. That repetition and intention brings you into that place where you are already connected, and he's in you and everywhere, and you're just putting your consciousness in that place. And I read this that I thought this is worth envisioning, if you will. So there's from the place of envisioning to the place where something exists in the spirit, there's an intermediary sound. And we can connect those two, and that sound of just going, God, just recognizing it's him in the middle of God, in the middle of it all, we connect the two. And that the application of this, just breathing this out, breathing this sound actually attracts this from the spirit realm to the world of form. I'm going to say it another way too. When we are believing for something, and when we envision it in a form, we take that form and we release it to a place where everything exists in the spirit realm. And when we are able to just do that and sit in knowing, in that beautiful place of just knowing, not try to figure it out, not try to put a step program to it, just go, oh, okay. And we release. The repetition of that in a meditative format is actually just that release of surrender. And surrendering is letting yourself be enfolded in the desire. And it's like going into the arms of someone you love and trust. When we do that, we just surrender to the life and the spirit, to the mind of God. And the way to do it is to live on purpose, with purpose, and deliberately. In this consciousness shift that we're experiencing, it's not a random thing. It is not something that's just happening at us or to us. And it's not a difficult concept, in that all we really are doing is agreeing with the very reality that God is in everything, absolutely in everything. And so when we experience it, if you find yourself saying things like, or getting frustrated and say, oh, God knows what I mean. Well, yeah, you know what he does, because he does know everything and he loves you so much. But he'd like you to know what you mean, right? So when you surrender, you're not giving up. You're surrendering by embracing the truth of his positioning in you, through you, and all around you. You're not giving up. You're releasing peace. We all know the scripture, blessed are the peacemakers. Make peace with yourself first. You can't give away or stand for something that you don't have to give. If you don't have peace within, it won't be a power you can release for another. I know that sounds a little tough, but it's actually a gift, because then it gives us permission to deal with whatever it is, to allow ourselves to come into that place of peace, so that we can give it. Make me a channel of your peace. That's Gina's beautiful song, if you haven't heard it yet. You're always connected to peace. Do you know that? Even in the worst time or turmoil. And peace is not obtained from something with outside of you. There isn't a peace pill or a peace drink or peace vacation, although vacations can bring you into a lovely peace. There's no therapy as powerful as connecting with the peace within you. And peace is not found in the words or the chemicals, but it's found in the person of the reality within us. The other part for us to understand is unconditional love. And we bring the highest level of love to your own self first. And watch how easy it is then to give it to others. Take off all conditions on yourself. And by the way, God doesn't make you holy. Holy is you making yourself set apart to him. It's a choice you make. It's your choice to life. It's really, really a beautiful truth for you. Take the conditions, they're off of you. And be aware of the infinite. And just like I've tried to share tonight, that if we have that beautiful understanding that God is within, he's in everything. He's in everything created, everyone. He doesn't separate at all. You're not here just as a human being. You're here as an energy force, as significantly powerful as being in the spirit and soul. So your human body is eternal. Do you see yourself as an infinite being, or do you see yourself changing and shifting all the time? If death was defeated on the cross, this is a pretty incredible statement, really. Is there such a thing as death? Or is it a transition to resurrection realities? And I'm going to leave that for you to think about. There's a power of emptying your mind from all the stuff. And meditation is one of the most important parts of knowing God, because it really, you know what? It's the only way that you can come to know him. He's not in the influence of great teachers. Although great teachers are wonderful, he's not in the party, but he is the party. He is not in the book, even as great as this Infinite Mind and Valerie Hunt is. He's not there, but he created all that's in it as well. There's one power in the universe. Do you know that? I'll leave this for you to think about too. There's not two powers. There's one power. There is no place God is not, and you can't divide him up. He is one, and you are one with him. And the only experience you can have that is indivisible is in the silence. And I've said that so many times. Silence is that voice. God is in that, and he made everything good. So we create from our minds our thoughts. As a man thinketh, so is he. In the quiet, translate the place you are to frequency, to energy, to an energy force. Understand that. Ask yourself, what is the energy behind what I'm sensing? Is it positive, loving, caring reality, or do I bring elements into it like shame, fear, confusion, indecision? For instance, listen to us talk. I'm as guilty as anyone. Saying things like, this seems funny, right? To say, well, that really got my goat. What on earth does that mean? But there are certain things that trigger you and they make you angry or frustrated. And sometimes they seem to be in patterns. And the patterns exist because you've created the pattern and you've allowed yourself to let it be a so-called natural place of your consciousness. We get so used to these things, we don't hear them anymore. We don't hear, I'm just dying to tell you what I really think. Really? Dying? How many times do we use that terminology attached to that? I'm dying to see you. I'm dying to have that cake. I'm dying to have dinner at the beach. I can't believe that we'll be together. I'm so sick and tired. Our language can be really, really goofy. And these are places of really low energy. What I'm saying is let's be aware so that we can mirror God in who he is, because we want to speak the words that we have to mirror him, so that he has something to respond to. Do you know he can't respond to death? I'll leave that for your thinking too. Destructive words seem to neutralize your ability to operate through Christ consciousness, and it keeps you grounded to dimensions in this world. Can we easily make the shift? Absolutely, and consistently. It can become a process, and it will take the place of old paradigms if we give it our consciousness to it. So we've talked about becoming meditative, not just about being a person who meditates. One of the best ways to become meditative is to practice meditations. It's like a catch-22. The way that habits are formed is by practice. And here's a scripture that is very interesting. And it's Hebrews 5:13-14. Anyone who lives on milk, still being still an infant, is not acquainted with the teaching about righteousness, but solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. But listen to the Mirror translation. This is the nourishment of the mature. They are those who have their faculties of perception trained as by gymnastic precision to distinguish the relevant from the irrelevant. Don't you love that? Because I was involved with gymnastics for so many years and traveled with the athletes, when I read this Mirror translation, I thought, yeah, we need to have our faculties of perception of our consciousness trained as by gymnastic precision. Do you know what gymnasts do? They spend more time on the sidelines meditating the routines that they are going to compete doing than they actually do on the floor. They visualize their routines until they do those routines perfectly. They do them over and over in their head. Their training is in their spirit. It's amazing. And gymnastics is a sport that demands not only physical strength, but also mental focus and discipline. And the physical conditioning, skill development, mental strength training, flexibility band, all of those kind of things, they're very important. But this scripture says that they have their faculties of perception trained. I think it's really cool that it didn't say they have to be so physically ready. They have their faculties of perception trained. And that speaks to us as well. We need to spend time dealing with the faculties of our perception in our area, in all the areas of our life, especially if you are in a place like I am. I want to be so aware of what I say, but not just of what I say. I want to be aware of what I'm feeling, what's behind what I say, because I know the power of my emotions and my words. And that's all the part of the faculties of perception that I'm personally training. I want to be at the place where if anybody can read my thoughts at any time, they will be the ones that mirror God. And it's, anyway, it's a work in progress, guys. It's a work in progress. Visualization, we know that our bodies don't know the difference between imaging an event or the event itself. Do you know that? And it's the reality of the scripture. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. High performance athletes, it's not just gymnasts, high performance athletes will actually spend more time rehearsing and visualizing. They focus, they concentrate, they overcome fear, because fear has lots of disguises. Attempting new challenging skills. That's the same things we deal with often in our lives. If fear comes in on anything, it can be little fear, lot of fear. Just recognize it and deal with it. Managing fear is not an option because fear has to be eliminated and replaced by confidence, by a consciousness that goes to that place where you mirror God. Fear is one of the greatest deterrents to greatness in sport. It's one of the greatest deterrents to our life journeys. And fear does not originate from God. The last thing a gymnast does and keeps going over it is rest and meditation. It's the anchoring, resting in God, thinking on things above and not just on things of this earth, anchors us mentally and emotionally till we find a place of rest that allows us to do inwardly what we're going to be doing outwardly. And I love listening to Caroline because I just hear Caroline, when I'm just talking to you, not just about you, you just find that place and you stand there mentally and emotionally in that place of rest, and then you move forward. You're such an amazing example to us. And rest is critical for recovery. And if there's been any injuries, rest in the new that you have found. Rest in the I am of whatever it is that is going to bring you into that new place in Him. By nurturing both our mind, body, like a gymnast, we'll develop skills, resilience, and a mindset. So the question is tonight, what is your goal? What is your goal? And all creation is groaning for us to be revealed. So I'm gonna just close off tonight because I would like to hear from you. I would really like to hear from you. Maggie, I'd like to hear from you too, but you know what? That's that. Sorry, guys. I'm also looking after Maggie here. Okay, I'm gonna unping me. Jacques.
Hey, and thank you for expressing all of this. My heart is so overwhelmed by what you've been saying. It shows to me that you have been in depth of this for to be able to express this and release this. It's I'm saying this because you see, before we met online here right now, I was experiencing some part of this and of the book that you presented, not in full spectrum, in part. But like I tell you, the things that I was experiencing were the things that you were speaking about, not, again, in full spectrum, but, and I can't, I'm beyond trying to express in words of what and how it is. I don't know, but it's just there. The things of, like, God is into everything and speaks and uses everything and breathes and everything is alive. But for me to come into realization more and more of this, it's awakening me that He is, like, it's crazy, but there, into everything. And He speaks through anything but everything, and uses anything to show Him that whatever you're looking at Him. And it made me ever so cry, like a rivers of waters. It was crazy. I was just there saying to God, God, this is like something else. You are so there into this. We all the time, without realizing it, that we are face to face with him, in him,
Yeah.
into all things.
Yeah.
We have yet to fully realize who we are and what we can do and release. It's amazing. It's powerful.
Yeah.
And, of course, I get argumentative with God, well, how come I don't see this? I don't see these things happening. But you know what? They do happen
They do.
all over the place. And because sometimes we're looking for something else while our vision is focused there for something else for him to do or whatever. But it's happening right in front of us because we have this mentality, and like you mentioned, we are like part here and part there into this, of which is lies, somewhat kind of reality, but into this that God ever so endeavors for us to be into.
Mhm.
And this doesn't happen to me a lot, and I'm glad it did today. And for what reason? There's a lot. But like to just simply have this realization, and I pray, and I'm sure God will make it ever so grow in my life for this to happen at every part of my life, financially or whatever currency or whatever that means, healing or whatever currency, joy, love, whatever. And he presented me, he showed me a key. I had one key. This one key was to every door, every portal, to every situation. It's like the master key. Having this master key to go into those realizations or visualizations that I can open those doors and make those things happen, or whatever form and shape that those are in my spirit, in my heart. And I was there like, wow, okay. You look yourself at sometimes as being a little old me per se, this old mentality, or I'm being this little chihuahua or this little dog. Uh, mm, uh, I was looking at birds outside and just getting together and being together and, eating the buds and whatever. And he was showing me these birds. These birds might be small, beautiful, but they are powerful. And a lot of things we think as being small means not powerful, but to God it is. Being small, it is like the dunamis, the atom, the everything, just that has went like this and formed this bird. And but does it mean it's small, it's not powerful? No, it is. It is all powerful. And so are we, and so is everything else. And but at any rate, it ever so helps to unravel my heart of what you've been saying here tonight. Uh, and wow, I don't know how to totally express this, but thank you to share this because it echoes so much. Okay, all right.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you for noticing the little things, from the birds to your own inner feelings that are all part of it. And I love that we're in transition, and I know you tried to bring words to that. Um, and we can certainly hear your heart in it, because that's where we meet, heart to heart. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Teresa.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing this. I feel so excited about things with science and spirituality. And recently, I've really been becoming more aware of the power of our consciousness. And I just felt to share a testimony of something related to that happened this week. So earlier this week, I was meditating, and I just was kind of thinking about the future and decided to put out a desire. And so this might seem like kind of a frivolous example, but it has brought me so much joy. So I just put out this desire that I would like to be a professional hula dancer. And I don't know, it just kind of came up, and I'm like, okay, I'll put this desire out. And to be honest, in the natural realm, it would be very improbable, because I just started taking hula last September at a Park District class and whatever, So, and I mean, a lot of people that they start when they're little, and they just, grow from there. So what are the chances in the natural of that happening? Well, I put that desire out, and just yesterday, the director of a well-known professional hula company in the area contacted me and invited me to join her professional hula training group. So
I want a demonstration.
Teresa, I'm not laughing at you. I am so not laughing at you. This is
No.
just the best. Absolutely. It is so to just, I guess, just to my mind, it is so outrageously out there that God is so gracious and cares about absolutely everything. I didn't even know you could put the words professional with hula. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't know that. And here you are, a living miracle. I love this story so much. It's just, you know what it's done? It's just brought my, I, I say it, right? Nothing's impossible. Everything, like, take the limits off, but you have just taken a whole other layer off for me. And I go, golly, anything, any professional hula. You're my hero. You're my hero. I love it. Thank you.
Well, what really got my attention was like, whoa, that happened so fast. And I felt like it was kind of the Lord just nudging me, like, dream bigger, dream bigger. Like, if
Yeah.
this can happen, like, so like this, I mean, how much more, like, for the resurrection realities that we've been talking about,
Mhm.
to really focus our consciousness
Sure.
and energy in that direction.
Sure.
And so that's what I really felt like he was kind of nudging and speaking to me about through this. So dream bigger.
Oh, I'm so, this is just it's at such a sweet level, at such a profound level. And I'm so happy that you shared that with us. Thank you. Thank you. But I'm with Gina. I want a visual. Maybe sometime. Maybe we need another road trip. That's so good. Thank you, Teresa. That's beautiful. You're beautiful. Wow. Okay, Rick and Karen, beat that.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to acknowledge it. First of all, thank you, Helen, for what you're sharing with us. Karen and I are stepping into more of that. Teresa, holy cow. I mean, so many people could say, well, that's just kind of simple, like you say, frivolous, no, that's absolutely important. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that speaks to whatever it is you want, you're imagining, or you want to step into, or you're
Yeah.
dreaming about. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's just so powerful. And I, there's so many things going through my head about. I'm starting to connect dots that I never thought I would connect, and I'm really we're diving deeper into the vibrations and what you're speaking of, Helen. It's interesting when you were talking about the gymnastics. My daughter was in gymnastics, and I didn't see her meditating a lot. She was just trying all these tricks. But what came to me was a couple of things. Oh, yeah, I played sports, and I wasn't a great athlete, but I had fun and I enjoyed it and everything. What came to me when you were talking about the gymnastics and meditation is I grew up on a farm, and we didn't have very big lakes around us for pleasure lakes, if you will, other than fishing. And so about 3.5, 4 hours away was a lake, and a lot of people from our area bought property down there. And so we started going down. If you can imagine a farmer leaving his farm to go down to a lake for a weekend, we did finally, about the time I was 14. They asked me if I would like to try to water ski, and I said, sure. They took one pull on me, and I fell face first in the water, and I said, that's it, I'm done. The next year, I couldn't wait to get there at some point to try to ski. I got up, I was on two, immediately kicked one off, and I never skied with two skis ever again.
Wow.
And it was almost like a natural. And it got to the point when my dad was pulling me on the boat, he'd try everything to dump me. He'd take me out into the main body of water, and I would jump the cruiser waves. I got so, and I'd never really thought about it until you were talking about the gymnastics and starting to equate it to what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, there's a lot more here that I've done or have stepped into. And I backed away from it because of what I was hearing over here on the right or on the left. And now I'm saying, okay, what is it? What is it? What's inside? What are you talking about? What are you wanting me to step into? And I'm starting to catch myself when I say, I don't. Well, you brought it up some words, and I can't even think now. But there's just such a shift going on, and I just go back, Teresa, to you. I mean, you just have really helped take it to another level, and I thank you.
Yeah.
It's just it's powerful, and I'm so excited for August to come, and we'll go there in August.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to make a note on my calendar, August, Rick. All
Please
right.
do.
Yeah, Rick is, I'm really glad you were as inspired as me by Teresa's testimony, but I'm inspired by you taking this into your own life too, and being encouraged, because this is one of the important things that we do, is encourage ourselves in our own faith and make it up close and personal, because the more we do that, the more it sits in us and the more we have to give to others. How about that, right? That's so good. That's awesome, awesome, awesome.
One
Thank-
thought I have on that is that Karen and I have been talking about many different things, and one of the things that came up is, well, you have several talents. And I go, yeah, give me one. What's my talent? You know, I've gotten to that point where I just do things without thinking about it. I'll use handiwork as they're just things that I do without even thinking about it. And some people go, how'd you do that? Well, I don't know. And so now, tonight, with some of what you have talked about, I'm starting to go, oh, there's a lot more to this guy than I really believe there is. And I'm now wanting to go get to know me better.
Come on,
Okay.
come on.
Thank you.
And we're in the journey with you, so we're going to enjoy that.
It'll be fun to unpack it.
Totally.
So I just want to acknowledge Carolyn and what you shared last week about your sister. That totally inspired me. And I have been stepping into a whole new level of loving and blessing and having conversation with my second daughter, there's been a long estrangement. And I am having so much fun because of what you shared. I'm having great conversations with her. I'm just pouring the love out on her. And it's shifting things. I can feel the change and the vibration and the energy. And I'm so excited about the whole thing. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just set aside for me all the painful emotions. They're just like, they're not there because I'm living in the now of communicating with her and loving her in the present. And that's all there is. Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Can I please just say that I read the other day that we are all channels of flow. This is so exciting. Like I heard that from someone else, and all I did was flow it on. And if we just flow, this person said that if we are prepared to flow everything, then we will keep receiving. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Like we're going to get more and more exciting things to flow on to others. So you're flowing that on now. Isn't that exciting that we're flowers? Whatever that, if someone can come up with a better word than we are flowers. So thanks for that, for everyone, not just me, but that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Cancel.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Karen, because that was a defining moment too for in last week's meeting, because when we see, like, when the testimony comes out, right, and Caroline, you did such a great job of sharing that. It encourages and it takes us beyond, but it takes us beyond something that we already knew and you can step into. It's not like you knew it consciously, but that's what is happening now. These things are coming to our conscious reality and we're living them. We're going to be so far beyond just hoping that things will happen, because we're going to be so busy doing it. And that's what you're doing, is just doing it. And wow, there is professional hulas. I am going to be for days now just so happy I even heard that. So good from Maggie. People flowers, we're people flowers. Yeah.
People flowers.
Oh, people flowers. I need to read with both eyes. That's so good. Wow. Gina.
That was stellar. Thank you. Just beautifully delivered and expressed. And
sincerely so. And we felt it. It wasn't just words that you sound great and whatever. It was from experience to us, and so we receive it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was thinking about this week, consciousness, of course, and it brought me to Hebrews. Faith is the evidence. Faith is the whatever it is.
Substance.
Substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so I always think about faith as consciousness.
Oh.
So faith is being aware of what God is aware of.
Yeah.
So consciousness is being aware of God's point of view. And I think about that as, okay, then there's so God's point of view and my big fat stupid opinion, it versus my opinion. Because we think our opinion, I think, opinions are whatever. But when it comes down to it, my awareness of God's perspective and God's point of view on a thing, I want that to be mine. And it is mine if I perceive it to be. So that's what I've kind of been learning. How God perceives something is how I can perceive something, because we are one and I have my I amness in him. So then faith is pretty simple. It's not that you have to do this or you have to do that. It's that we sit in the Father for something, for our desire, and be aware of that. So I've been practicing that. Like perception, understanding, and insight is part of God's plan or strategy for me to encounter him and then express that in my world, or in my body, or in my manifested desire. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on and pondering and meditating. And it's been interesting because I didn't really think about it that way before, and meditation and musing is me quieting down and sitting in what is God's point of view on this. And then it reminded me of Jesus saying, I only do what I see my Father in heaven doing.
Yeah.
And then I go do that.
Yeah.
And how else am I going to do that except by what, Helen, you spoke about tonight? Yeah. So I was asking Father about something and sitting in it and trying to get his point of view on the thing. And he said to me, I'm saying this and that and this and, questioning and asking and then sitting. And then he said to me in this meditation time, it is as you believe it to be. And I thought, okay, well, that's pretty simple in and of itself. But the difficulty was, oh, what is it that I believe it to be? I had to ask myself this question. And what are these thoughts that come to me around that thing? Right? Around that desire that I want. What are my automatic, what am I thinking about this, just what is easily flowing out of me? That is how
Yeah.
I believe it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because there's something called wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And then there's something called, this is how I believe it to be. And this is what I see and perceive and understand and am inspired by the strategy of God that is already in me.
Yeah.
That's already done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm back to square one. But no, I'm not necessarily, but you sort of feel like, okay, wow, there's another level of, responsibility that I need to take about even my thoughts that I don't even think about,
Yeah.
that are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that come so naturally, and I'm going to say naturally in the sense of the word, maybe as opposed to supernaturally or my sacred self thoughts.
Right.
So in observing that, it was good because you can really catch it and remember what you really believe about it.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't like a downer or anything at all. It was, oh yeah, but yes, I must sit in what I actually really believe about this desire that I'm, wanting manifested.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you're saying. Sometimes we do feel like we're just at the starting again, but we know better.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you said practicing consciousness. And I wish I had included exactly that in the lesson, because I think that's one of the things that we need to do. We practice makes better, right? I don't believe practice makes perfect. I believe practice makes better.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, practicing consciousness opens up fields of understanding that we may not have words for.
Right.
And especially when in him, right? There's sometimes in that place of in the silence of the meditative process, something just comes in, and I realize it's because we're practicing something so that we can not just get better at it, but then it becomes to be defined to us. And I believe that those times and definitions can be, as many as are on this call or that listen to this call, it's so so individualized, right?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a formula for any of this.
Right.
There's maybe some good suggestions, but it's in the practice that we grow individually, and I love that. And
I
then
think you did say it though,
did I?
because you said train your faculties of perception. Same thing.
Right, right. Well, I just heard it from you. It sounded better.
I liked your version. Train your faculties of perception. See, I love the oneness of it all. It's
There you
great.
go. There you go. And examine yourself. It's not a bad thing unless you get caught up in the paralysis of analysis, that then you're in a spin cycle. But it's okay to say, you know what, how am I sitting in this really? How am I? And be honest with yourself and the self-talks. Love it, Gina. Thank you. Thank you so much. Todd, Elizabeth, and Jen.
Hi, everyone. Todd and I stepped away because we had a neighbor that came to our door. So we missed a lot of the talk. I'll have to go back and listen. But Helen, I shared this with you, but I wanted to share it with everyone, that scripture that I was trying to get out last time. I don't know if anyone brought it up, but it's all things that you ask straightly and directly from inside my name, you shall be given. So far, you've not done this. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at.
That's the Gospel of Thomas.
It's actually John. It was edited out.
Oh,
That was edited
was
out
it?
of transcripts. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely.
But I also wanted to read the one I sent you from the Gospel of Thomas because it's so
Okay.
delicious. I want to
Okay.
share it with everyone.
Good.
So this is from my text to you. So this is the verse. Jesus saw children who were being suckled. He said to his disciples, "These children who are being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom." They said to him, "Shall we then, being children, enter the kingdom?" Jesus said to them, "When you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as the below, and when you make the male and female into a single one, so that the male will not be male and the female not be female, when you make eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in the place of a hand, and a foot in the place of a foot, and an image in the place of an image, then you shall enter the kingdom. When you make the two one, you shall become sons of man. And when you say mountain be moved, it will be moved."
That's so powerful, isn't it?
It's
Just
powerful.
so powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to have little sticky notes in our Bibles and remind ourselves that there's expanded versions of scripture.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that when you make the two one, because this,
Yeah.
you know, that's the duality, right? That's still two, but one, we're one. Yeah, it's just so, it's so deep.
Yeah.
It's so good. I wanted to share that.
Good. Come on. Wow, wow, wow. Come here, Rex. Thank you for sharing that. I'm really, excuse me, really glad. I'm glad we have it on the recording. Thank you. All right, team. I have a little dog that's needing to go out. Is anybody else here? All right. It's very quiet. Gina?
I wondered if it would be fine, or if there's time or whatever, if anybody wants to stay during this call. I've had some texts about my grandson
Oh,
who is in urgent care at the moment. If somebody wants to do
Yeah.
an intention,
yeah, I'm in.
okay,
I'm in. Yeah. Okay.
that's all. I'll
Okay.
write the intention
Well,
as
yeah.
we are talking.
All right. Well, thank you for your input, everybody, tonight. And I just personally, I just love the joy that is just so impacting tonight. And Teresa, you just took us over the top. Rick, Karen, Planks, Gina, Caroline, everyone, you are just outstanding. And so, you know what? I'm going to take us off the recording now. And then those who would like to stay on for intention time, you're welcome. But we'll take it from there. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine on you, be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his shalom. nothing missing, nothing broken. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.